But I do feel in that really silly, masculine, feminine way, I've always desired a partner to let me be softer. I want to fall into that softness because I think my go-to is to take care of everything.
Okay, y'all, I'm back with another video. Today I'm going to be reacting to a podcaster. Her channel is called Lovers by Shan. She's going to be interviewing Creed. Creed used to play on a show called A Different World back in the 1990s, kind of discussing her life. And I thought this was a very good, important video to look at. I'm gonna be reacting to it, but I'm not gonna be reacting to the whole video. I just want to react to some of the stuff she discusses, how she felt growing up when dealing with masculine and feminine energy. So here we go.
And I moved to LA at 16, and then I turned 17 a couple months later, and 6 months later I was on Different World. So I've always been ferociously independent. And when the men in my life, my partners, expressed a fear of if we were going to be okay, I really had a visceral reaction to it. It took away my sex. It would take away my sex. And there was something so extremely unattractive about, I have to be careful here because I don't want anyone to get the impression that I don't respect uncertainty or...
I stopped that because I have felt the same exact way she is, because I don't want to be, it's odd, it's switching energies, whether people want to believe it or not. We're in times where we are switching energies.
There's something about the approach to it that I don't want anyone to make me feel unsafe.
Yes.
If you're feeling unsafe, we can talk about it and investigate it together, but I don't want it to become my fear too, because I don't approach it that way. And it really has been the demise of some pretty long-term things.
A woman cannot really empower a man. They can't really give man safety. They can't do those things because they're naturally women.
And when I've had men in my life approach me with that, oh no, I don't know what I'm going to do or what we're going to do, it was the end of us really doing anything. Yeah.
You know that then, or you know
I
that
had
now?
no idea. I had no idea that was turning me off. I just noticed that it would lead to the physical relationship with stymieing, that you are the man that can make sure we're going to be okay.
Interesting conversation.
So now I'm happy to know that, because I would love to have a husband and a real partner, someone that we could get excited about the trials and tribulations in life together. Yeah, that would be great.
I just did a video recently on a young couple, 25 and 27. Lillian is 25. That's the wife. D'Angelo is 27. And she kind of discusses some similar things, what they're talking about when it comes to the feminine masculine energy. Go back and take a peek at it. It's a very good video, but this is a very interesting conversation.
Because I've always felt very well endowed in a relationship, like I've got a huge cock in this one.
I love that you gesture to your very...
She says she got a huge cock. That's because she's been masculine energy for so long. That's what it is, that she probably can't turn it off.
I always feel like a huge dick, and I don't want to have that. Then we're sword fighting, And I think I always...
She says she don't want to have that because then they're sword fighting, which is true, because when a masculine, or maybe he's feminine energy, he might not be masculine energy. He might be feminine energy. Some men are not even realizing. And so please don't get me. This is not to all men, and this is not talking about a man's sexuality. But they feel like when you kind of you're kind of challenging them, and they feel like the word they're going to say is, you're disrespecting me as a man. And that's not even the case. It's just that she's been playing her masculine energy role for so long, she don't know how to turn it off. Unfortunately, if you're dating partners where you have to decide to make them feel safe as a woman, then it's hard for you to turn it off. It's not because you want to disrespect them. It's hard to turn off. And when they're not understanding, are we going to play these roles, or we're going to switch roles? What are we doing?
A negative reaction, I couldn't have empowered a man. But now that I can articulate it and I know exactly what it is, I could say to them, hey, oh my God, shit's hit the fan. What are we gonna do? This is fucking great. How are we gonna get out of this one?
Do you think that there's something that's like inherently man and woman with this conversation?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about it.
A little bit.
Tell me.
I feel like I'm very in my feminine. I always feel very in my feminine until I get with a particular partner. And then I feel very masculine.
I totally agree. And that happens to me as well, but maybe it's the man that I'm picking, because, and it also messes me up by default, and maybe it messes her up as default as well, because you got to be able, you got to be able to determine, and you got to sit back and listen and observe which man is this I'm dealing with. Is this a feminine energy man, or is a masculine man? Because what happens is, when you start being in that masculine energy with a masculine man, he gonna drop you off, and that's it. Bye. But if you're with a feminine energy man, does he know he's feminine energy? And like I said, I'm not talking about a man's sexuality. Which role do you play with him?
I drive a muscle car. I love motorcycles. I have a lot of things that would be, I guess, termed masculine. I've always been that way. But I do feel in that really silly, masculine, feminine way, I've always desired a partner to let me be softer. I want to fall into that softness, because I think my go-to is to take care of everything.
So you can't be both energies. You just can't do that.
Even now, I find myself as a single parent.
Yes.
Again, I'm the mama and the daddy. I don't want to do both.
But what about a partnership that didn't embrace your big cock and your motorcycles?
Yeah, I need that. I need them because sometimes I'm going to have a big cock. I just can't help it. So then you'd have to be okay with it.
And see, this is what I want to read a little bit to y'all about. There are now, let me read from this part from this book I'm reading. You can't be both energies. You can't, you got to be a masculine man or a feminine woman. But you can't be in your masculine energy and trying to be a feminine woman. Let me read y'all a little bit what this book say. I'm a little sleepy. It says, we each have the right to think and to feel. We each have a right to our own body. We have the right to be an individual separate from all others. So we have advanced to the place where we can be all by ourselves if we want to be. The problem is, how do we get together? There are now 4 people in our relationships instead of just 2. His male and his female, and her female and her male. 4 complex creatures who want the freedom to be respected for their thinking and cherished for their feelings. Often at the same time, the equality tends to be competitive. Nobody in a equal relationship wants to give up his or her right. So you can't be both energies. You just can't do that.
I think maybe I wasn't. Yeah, I need the space to be both. I just haven't found it. I've only found this space where I am the masculine. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And unfortunately, you can't be both. You got to pick one. So whatever one that you want to be, you got to pick the partner has to be the opposite.
By choice. It's not a desire, you know. I like the softness. I like to be cared for, to have someone else take the wheel, to get to just lay back sometimes, you know. And I think if that's not a feeling that you want to have, then once you get into the bedroom, it's a hard feeling to get. You know, if I'm driving all over town and taking care of everything, I don't lay down softly.
Okay, y'all, we're at the end of this video, but I just wanted to give a couple of tips when you're wanting to be soft, or if you're a masculine energy woman and you find yourself with a feminine, if you're a masculine energy woman, but you find yourself more with a feminine energy man, and I'm not talking about his sexuality, because there's a lot of feminine energy men and they just like women. So the first tip I'm going to give about that is, if you find yourself more in your masculine energy and you're getting frustrated with the man that you're with, whether he's a feminine energy man or whether he's a masculine man, communicate. That's the oldest thing in the book. You have to communicate with your partner. Do not let yourself get frustrated where you want to, and you know, masculine energy, sometimes we'll cuss somebody out. Don't let yourself get frustrated where you're overwhelmed and you want to lash out at that man, or you want to call him out his name, or you want to say something that you'll regret in a relationship. Communication is always key. That's number one tip. Number two, you need to have a discussion. I feel like in these times, it's 2025, people really do need to have discussions about the masculine and the feminine energy and decide, well, which one are we? Are we compatible? That's a second tip. People need to have that discussion. The third thing I'm going to discuss is, the third tip I'm going to give is to mostly women. When you're feeling like that you are more masculine energy and you kind of want to be more softer, you got to take a break for yourself. You got to unwind. You have to set boundaries. I think both men and women, where, you know, set those boundaries and don't get overwhelmed. That's my last tip. Do not be overwhelmed when you're doing too much as a masculine energy woman. You have to have that, like I said before, you have to have that communication. You have to get that support from your partner and let him know how you feel as a masculine energy woman. And sometimes you want to be more softer, just a little bit. But anyway, y'all, this is the end of this video. Until next time, bye.